There's no question. I mean, this is a game we've been talking about. It's going to be talked about the rest of their lives. And people always remember this week, this game. You can't get excited about that, regardless of where you're from. Bragging rights or something. This is going to be one of those games that, you get into a game like this. I mean, it's a rivalry game, a lot of emotion, and whatever it takes today. And this is one of those games that you always have circled on the calendar. They want this year to be remembered in a positive sense for the rest of their lives.
Number 10, Mackenzie Milton. With Mother Teresa Milton and girlfriend Annie Armos. Number 11, Jermaine Johnson. With Mother June Root. Jay Johnson and stepmother Johnson.
We get ready for the Florida State-Miami rivalry. 66th meeting between these two rivals. They really put college football on the map of the Sunshine State.
My last one in dope. It's going to be special. Watch this.
Your mentality for 60 minutes. Play smart, because that's how you're trained. You can, and I promise you will. Today will be our best day.
Florida State will start at the 22-yard line. Here's the snap on second pitch to the right side. Cut back by Ward. Across the 50 to the 40. Outside the numbers to the 30. He's to the 25. Knocked out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Great run after he got by the line of scrimmage. A flag has been thrown. Here's the snap. Jordan Travis running that way, looking that way. Puts on the break, runs inside the 3 to the 2 to the 1. He is in. Touchdown, Florida State. Touchdown, Seminole. Opening drive against the Canes. Florida State with a 6-0 lead, point after touchdown. Ryan Fitzgerald dropping back to throw. Van Dyke looking for the deep ball downfield. It is caught, intercepted. No, that's a Marion Cooper. He picked one off at Clemson. He just picked off a Miami fan. And the Noles are back in business. Backfield, Van Dyke to throw across the bound. It is hit, caught, and no, it's intercepted. It's picked off. It's intercepted by the Noles. I think it's picked off. It is. Wow.
Great job, Jamie Robinson.
Up 15, Van Dyke dropping under pressure. He'll go down. He's out. Fumble football. FSU football, I think.
And it looks like it was recovered by 5-5 on that one.
Third turnover in the first quarter by the Miami Hurricanes. Takes the snap. Hands the ball off to Corbin, running to his right, tries to get outside, inside the 10 to the 5, outside the number, touchdown FSU, touchdown Jayshon Corbin. 14-0, and the Seminole defense has played lights out.
That's right. Thank you, Egg. Tell him, Egg.
The spot is good, the kick is airborne, and it is good. But I'll take a 20-7 lead into the locker room. How about you, William?
I would definitely take that, Gino.
Florida State 20, Miami 7. FSU leads rival Miami.
No talking. And then the backers will play off those. Hold the ball. Pistol.
We got to keep playing hard.
Play faster. You can and you will. You can and you will. Yes, sir. 30 minutes, man. Everything you got. Hey, let's go climb on 3. 1, 2, 3.
He's going to be snagged and dropped at the 15-yard line by Jermaine Johnson again. Touchdown Miami Hurricanes. Harley. Tight end touchdown Miami. It's Mallory. Big time play by Jermaine Johnson again. his second sack of the game. They're up 27-20 with 11:04 left. From the far side, had good snap. The spot kick is airborne, and it is good. It's a 5-point ball game, 28-23. It's going to take a touchdown to win. Mike Norvell is hanging on to those 3 timeouts. He'll use them on this series offensively. Hands the ball off, and Nathan is snagged at the 41-yard line. Down to 5 before. Here's the snap. Empty backfield pass on the bubble screen. First guy missed. The second didn't. It will be 3rd down and 4. Now Van Dyke gets ready to go to work. Fellow pocket 2-1. He get the snap away. Pass to the far side. Caught by the tight end, Mowry. He's tackled short of the mark to make it the 45. With 2:29 to go, the Noles have 2 timeouts remaining and will have the football. See what Jordan Travis can do here. Throws a pass downfield, a receiver there. Caught ball to the 50, to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, inside the 25-yard line. What a throw by Jordan Travis and Ja'Kai Douglas. Makes a huge catch. The Noles win business. 4th down and 14.
They probably going to play a man under.
Yeah, they got 4 down linemen. Here's the snap. Jordan Travis looking, goes toward the end zone. Receiver, caught ball. Andrew Parchman. 58 seconds left. Noles with 2 timeouts, and we're knocking on the Miami door. He's a receiver. You got him behind, and Corbin behind the quarterback, Jordan Travis. Here's the snap of the game. Here's the snap, and Jordan Travis runs to his left. Did he get in? He did! Touchdown FSU! Touchdown! Noles win! Yeah! How about Jordan Travis? And the Seminoles have knocked off the Miami Hurricanes and stopped their 4-game win streak.
Just to start, wow, what a game. So proud of our team, just the coaches, everybody involved in the program. These kids that just continue to work, and they continue to believe. And, this game is a special game. It means everything to our program, to our fan base, to our former players, alumni, to the state. And to see our guys go and compete the way that game finished, could not be any more proud.
Because you never let up. You never stop. You never pull back. That means everything to this program.
I was so proud of how our guys you responded in that situation.
Hey, but Jermaine,
they know we believe in them, and they showed up big tonight. So I was proud of our football team and just everybody that associated with the program.
Shout out to the official Florida State Twitter page, the official Florida State YouTube page for that video. Figured I thought it was a cool video. Want to watch it myself, so I figured why not have everybody watch it with me. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy POLK, a.k.a. A-Lo, a.k.a. the goddamn truth. And it's the hangover time. Boston College week. The fact is, every game this rest of this season is must win if we want to make that bowl game, which I personally believe is pivotal for the rebuild and for some of these commits that we gonna talk about, man. Because if you ain't heard of what's going on in Tallahassee, you might want to get up to speed, man. You might want to get up to speed because we had a big old defensive lineman in Tallahassee today. Georgia commit at that. And all the experts that I respect, they crystal balling them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that young man. Also, I want to go over just a little bit of Jordan Travis and what I think is going on with him in terms of his growth, his development. Do I think he is taking the step that I think he needs to take? What did he show me in that Miami game? And I think y'all might be pleasantly surprised with my take on Travis today because I saw some stuff. And also, I said we was going to do a free giveaway. And we're not just doing any free giveaway. We're doing something that I think is essential. If you don't know, 4th and 14 has been trademarked. It's been monetized. My man Jordan Travis started his own little clothing line here, as we can see here on the screen. And instead of, why not support our quarterback? Why not support, if you want to help, if you want to get these recruits and to understand what this NIL could potentially mean? I don't like that picture. Where's the spear on that one? I don't like that one. But anyway, if you want to get these kids to understand the potential that the NIL holds, well, damn it, we're going to support us some Jordan Travis tonight. And 4th and 14, we will be giving away. I'm going to buy myself one, by the way, just so you guys are. So I'm actually going to buy 2. But whoever wins our free giveaway will be getting an official Jordan Travis 4th and 14 shirt. And if you don't win, go support our quarterback. Believe me, recruits are going to see this. Recruits are going to see stuff like this, and they want to know that us Florida State fans have their back. So stick around to the end, and we'll do the giveaway. And if you win it, all you got to do, DM me on either Instagram, Twitter. My email's in the description. You can hit my email up. All I need is, and I'm not a creep. I'm not trying to find. First of all, I'm all the way in the island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I was about to say specific, middle of the Pacific Ocean. So I can't come to you anyway, even if I was a creep. All I need is your address, what size you wear, and which one of these lovely colors. You want a gray one? I actually don't like that gray one. Got to go with your garnet or black. Personally, I think the garnet pops. So tell me your color, your size, shoot me your address, and it'll be to you. Rose, you in the building. You are not qualified for this one. Sorry, my man. You obviously won the last free giveaway. He won the blacked out Florida State hoodie at the beginning of the season. So, yeah, man, that's what we doing. That is what we are doing here tonight. So let's not waste any more time. Let me take this off the screen. Obviously, I'll bring that back up later on once we hit that point of the show. But that is what we're doing here tonight. Let's hit this roll call, baby, and let's get to talking some recruits. Boxing Monster, a.k.a. DF in the building. Mason Rushing, Tyler Hedden, True Seminole, Giuseppe, Florida State Love, Jeff, Knowles Squad, 904 Davis, Charmy, Brandon B, Jesus, Noel Squad, Todd Pope, Zozuki in the building. FSU Tony, Rose, Chris G, think Serve 5, Island Boy, Irv Gotti. Think we hit Mayan King, Raymond James, Jacarius, and I think we hit everybody that's in here. 29 people, man. Hit the like button and let's get this thing popping. Tyree West. Let's look up Tyree West. I should have already had this up. But man, oh man, this news was a little shocking to me. Now, the reason it's shocking me is because who he's committed to. But I knew there'd been some flirting, but it's like, you know, FSU's 3-6. Now they're 4-6. Do they really have a shot at a guy like this? Tyree West. Let's bring his profile here on screen. So you can get BB, what's in the building? What's going on? Jim Ferrari in the building. What's going on? Let's bring him up right here. Whoops, wrong button. There we do. There he is. Tyree West. D lineman, 6'3", 280 pounds, currently committed to the Georgia Bulldogs. You're talking about a top 100 player, 5 stars on some sites. Obviously, you guys know me. I go with the 247 composite. That's my go-to. But as you can see over here, crystal ball predictions from not only Fong, who I always tell you guys, if the Fong father drops it, you can almost take it to the bank. But 2 Georgia insiders also, one only put a 4 and a 5. Berg, but you know, Berg's biased, as we all are here when we support these Seminoles. He put a 10 in. But you're talking about a fringe 5-star D lineman out of the state of Georgia, Trenton, which is very close. Might as well be Florida if you ask me. But look at those rankings, man. He's a top 90 player in the country, the 10th best player in the state of Florida, and the 14th best defensive lineman. And he was on campus today, folks. My man was on campus today, did a visit, watched the team practice. I saw an interview he had. He said Florida State is close to his heart. He didn't commit. He also did mention, just to be fair, that he's taking other visits. He plans to take some of the names he dropped. I think it was Auburn, Tennessee. That's just off the top of my head that I remember. Basically, I think he's planning on staying in the South. Made it clear that Florida State is right up there, if not number one. He did say he was still committed to Georgia, but when a guy's committed to Georgia and talking about taking all these other visits and saying, he said Florida State's the closest team to home. And when he's talking like that, it's only a matter of time before we get the decommit there. If we get it, we probably get it on National Signing Day. He might definitely do the decommit there. But Coach Odell, Uncle Hagens, I apologize. If you land, caveat, if he lands this, now, y'all know my stance on Odell. If you bring in a defensive line class, and I'm strictly talking D tackles, that consists of Bishop Thomas, Daniel Lyons, possibly Ontavious Woody, whether they see him as an old lineman, y'all know my take on him. I think he's more of a defensive tackle. And then this guy, Odell, I humbly apologize for anything I've ever said. Odell's back in his bag, it looks like. And I got to say, man, he finding his second win, Tyler. I almost had Odell back in the back, buried behind the barn. Like old Yeller, like they said. I was pretty much ready to write him off, send him packing, send him into the sunset, let him retire. But you pull this one off. I think the retirement rumors cease and all that other stuff cease. I won't say anything. But I agree, Irv. I'm going to hold my apology to the commitment. This is all good and fine. We getting a little excited, and I agree. But from everything that I'm hearing, I know that you guys are probably hearing, that you could read, listen to, FSU's trending way up for this kid. And that's a big time get. If we're talking about an infusion of talent, if we're talking about building in the right direction, it starts in the trenches. And you already see what they're doing on the offensive line. Hey, defensive line is just as important, if not more so. It starts there. And Tyree West, I haven't even watched this film, to be honest with you guys. And we won't do it here tonight. We'll pick another night. But his body type, 6'3", 280. He reminds you of someone. He could remind you of someone very, in recent Florida State memory, was built very similar to him. He was a hell of a college defensive tackle. So I won't say the name. I'll let y'all figure him out. But this could be very big. This could be very big. Again, we don't want to go overboard. But I think to out of the blue, all of a sudden that pop up like that, I think that shows that this coaching staff, but even through all the turmoil, all the ups and downs, all through all of it, they haven't sold these kids any lies. I think they've been extremely smart. I think they've been extremely smart by being honest and saying, hey, look, we ain't good. We don't think we're going to be good this year, but what we're building could be special, and we want you to be a part of it. That's pretty much what every recruit has echoed, and the recruiting rankings prove it because Florida State hasn't really lost anybody on the trail since the beginning of the season. The two guys they lost were two guys that people said they probably aren't solid. That's the kid out of Mississippi. We know how those recruitments go. And Ba, who, again, we had I'm going to say we, even though, again, I don't have no sources, I just read the same thing you guys read, and then I make my own assessments. But we had the feel on Ba a month or two out that, that one's probably not, he's probably on his way out. The fact that nobody else is decommitted, the fact that your three top recruits have all but not only been solid, but been vehemently solid. Marvin Jones Jr. puts you in his top 5. Speaking of that NIL that we're seeing, it's damn sure not Corey Durden. His body type is Nandi's very similar. I think Nandi actually was heavier than Tyree West coming out. Nandi was actually pretty heavier than. But again, I'll let you guys just throw names out there. But anyway, I actually just lost what I was going to say. Just that quick, reading you guys' just comment. But I think this staff has done a great job of just convincing these young men, like, hey, we're not where we want to be yet, but we're going to show you and we're improving. And having Marvin Jones Jr. put you in his top 5. Oh, that's right. I was speaking on NIL. And I was listening to the 247 pod today. And they mentioned, and I wholeheartedly agree, I know Marvin Jones Jr. is looking at some other big schools that are going to be playing in big games this bowl season. Florida State may not make a bowl. But when you're the namesake, there's no place that he can capitalize more on NIL than Tallahassee. He's not just, the only bigger name, like there might be a handful of guys in Tallahassee's history that have a bigger name than Marvin Jones Jr. Dion obviously being one, but Dion never had a junior, to my knowledge. I don't believe Dion had a junior. But Dion being one, maybe in 20 years, we might be talking about Jameis Winston Jr., maybe, right? Maybe someone like that. But there's not a bunch of names bigger than Marvin Jones Jr. in Tallahassee. And I think when we just talking recruiting, man, a lot of that stuff can add up. I don't really think that one's, I think they brought him on campus personally, Todd, because it's a good look, regardless of if he comes or not. And I don't foresee it because of the names of the schools that are pursuing him. I know, kids say that all the time. Oh, I love me some Odell or Atkins. But when you're a guy like him and you have the options he has, I don't know. And they're kind of getting in late on his recruitment. I wouldn't put any money in it, but just having that grown man on the sideline Saturday, it's a good look for future prospects. Tyler says, I actually saw a cool video. I saw that same video. He was like a little podcast or something he was on, but he was talking about how to recruit these kids. Do you want to go? Basically, in a nutshell, he was basically saying, do you want to go someplace and just be another spoke on the wheel? Because let's face it, Marvin Jones Jr. is going to go to any school in the country and get drafted to the NFL. Any school, knock on wood, unless an injury or something like derails his career. Again, knock on wood on that. But Marvin Jones Jr. can go to any school in the country and he's going to be in the NFL in 3 years. Do you want to just go somewhere and be a spoke on the wheel? Or do you want to come somewhere and cement your own legacy? And with the state of Florida State right now, we all know who his father is. His father is arguably the best linebacker that ever played in college football. He has a chance to have his own legacy separate of that because of where Florida State is. Now, Florida State had kept all that momentum from 2013 to now. Then you can make the case that Marvin Jones Jr. would just be another spoke on the wheel. But the fact is, we didn't. Not only did we fall off, we fell into the damn abyss. And now we're slowly climbing, pun intended, back out of it. Well, young shade tree, as I like to call him, he can cement his own legacy separate of his father. I don't know, man. Again, this is just a fan of me talking, but I don't know how you pass that kind of opportunity up. I really don't. And I think we feel good. I know I feel good on Marv, but I know there's a lot of competition out there for him. Earl Little, I still don't. I know he's close with Marvin Jones Jr. I don't think they're a package, though. But that's just my opinion there. And so that's pretty much all the recruiting buzz that has kind of happened today. There's been some talk about Basaint, and we touch on Wesley Basaint here real quick. And what's very interesting about Wesley Basaint is his other teams in his top like 5 that I'm aware of, and none of them are good, or top 4. He's got all the Florida schools, and he will be visiting Florida when we play them, which could turn out to be like 2 visits for Florida State if you think about it. We can go in there and handle business. In West Virginia, none of those teams are good, and a lot of people don't believe he's going to leave the state. And a lot of people feel like his best relationship right now is with Florida State. So that's kind of the key on Basaint right now, is that if you look at his top schools, man, it's not like no one has a clear. His recruitment is extremely hard to read right now because none of the schools have an edge. Miami damn sure don't. That's why a lot of people feel like Florida State made a big leap in Basaint because they actually beat Miami. Florida, we know what's going on there. Speaking of just simply those 2 programs, they don't even know who their head coach is going to be in January. 2 months from now, and I don't think either program knows that they have a head coach yet. I know one program thinks they have a head coach, and we'll see how that plays out. We're not here to talk about them boys here today. But both of those programs are kind of in shambles at this point. And dare I say, a 4-6 Florida State team, it has the highest upside right now of any team in the state of Florida because they're showing progress on the field. They're showing progress off the field, which a lot of stuff doesn't get talked about, what they're building structurally in Tallahassee. And look, Mike, for better or worse, at the end of the day, Mike's not going anywhere. Not until probably after if he continues to lose, they'll probably address it the 2023 season. But in the future, Mike's here for the next 2 years at least. At least. I think that's Keon Bassane. And as far as West Virginia goes, that's another. West Virginia probably had the best chance, but they dropped the ball because they're not having a good season. And they're so far away. So I feel good on Bassane as well. And this was a guy that I thought was never going to leave Dade County. If I was just being personally honest with you, I never thought Wesley Bassane would leave Dade County. And who knows? Maybe he's waiting to see what Miami does. Maybe he won't leave Dade County. Despite all that stuff going on, if Miami hires the right guy, maybe he stays home. But, we'll see. We'll see there. Tyler says, look at Jermaine, became a Seminole legend in just a year on a 4-16. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nobody knows where Marvin's going. Bassane, I'm feeling good about. Bassane's coming here. Move on. What do you think about the linebacker coach being a coach to watch it for the NFL? Thank you. I say do it. One of the things we know about Marv for sure is that he can't recruit, but his coaching acumen has always been praised. And I simply think I think he has a lack of talent at the linebacker position, but that's some of his own doing because he cannot recruit. NFL, with all due respect, take Marv off our hands. UF sure doesn't. Good point, Travis. UF doesn't have a defensive coordinator. They don't have a D. He doesn't even know who his D coordinator is going to be. Absolutely right. Nor does he know if the guy that he has a relationship with at Florida will even be there next year. You're absolutely right. Don't know that for sure, Ardavius. I don't know that for sure. Don't see how we don't get Bassane. December 4th is right around the corner. I think, I'll be honest with you, and that's why I don't think we have to worry about too many decommits. Early signing period is right, like you said, right around the corner. 2 weeks or so away. If guys haven't decommitted yet, or in the terms of Tyree West, where he hasn't decommitted from Georgia, but he's obviously shopping himself around, taking visits, and openly speaking about loving other schools. Florida State, we're not in that position. We haven't heard one of our guys currently committed openly shopping themselves around, or I think the only one is Untavius Woody that we would be worried about. Where he says Florida State's his number one. I think he was in Tallahassee Saturday, but he's also said he's, visiting schools. He claims for the experience, but again, anytime a guy's talking like that, I understand it. So the only guy I would be worried about at this point is Woody. Maybe Saturday showed him something different. I don't know. So I don't think we need to worry about our guys anymore. The Sam McCalls, don't worry about those guys. Those guys are in. Those guys are going to sign December 4th, and we'll work on getting whoever doesn't sign on the 4th to close the class out, and then, of course, work the portal. So I think Florida State's in a great position recruiting-wise. And obviously, they hold what I will say this. What I like is we hold our own destiny in our hands. I love the fact, and I know this might sound weird. Before we get into Jordan Travis, we'll close with this. I know this might sound weird. I love the fact that this coaching staff and these players are in the position they're in at 4-6. I know that sounds crazy. What? They're playing each game. Each of these last 2 games are going to be played like it. You're going to get everything. I believe Mike wants that bowl game. I want it as a fan for a multitude of reasons. Not only development, but I think to showcase your program. I get it. The Meineke Carr Bowl or the Gasparilla Bowl isn't a great bowl game, but it's a lot better to be playing football in December and not sitting at the house when you're talking about trying to convince kids that this program is going in the right direction. It's a lot easier to sell 7-6 than it is to sell 4 and what would that be? Because we potentially could lose the next 2 games, right? And be 4-8. Or 5-7, whatever the case, right? It's a lot easier to sell bowl game, December playing, than it is to be sitting at home talking about, well, we didn't really need the bowl game, but we're moving in the right direction. Well, are you? There's not a lot of difference between 4-8 and 3-6. That it looks actually kind of like you're stagnating. It's a lot better to sell that 7-6, and that's why I think being in that position, having a chance to hold your destiny in your hands, play both of these last games like it's your hardest. Jermaine Johnson has already said. Now I disagree with him saying this, but I love his passion. He said he won't sit out a bowl game if Florida State makes one. He says he will not. There you go. Tyler just asked the question. He says he won't. If I'm Mike, I'm telling him to sit out for two reasons. One, you are potentially about to make a ton of money here, especially if he goes to the combine and kills it. Look, sit out, man. One, anything can happen in any game. The last thing you need is somebody rolling on an ankle, rolling up your knee. Now your ACL's blown, your draft stock's fallen. You will go from being guaranteed a $10 million guy to barely $1 million or whatever the case. Don't lose yourself that money. And for two, I'd much rather use those December practices for the guys that's going to be going and rolling into spring. No offense to Jermaine. I got nothing but love for him. But he don't need those practices in December. Patrick Payton needs those practices in December. George Wilson probably needs those practices in December. You can play a lot of guys in that bowl game and still keep their redshirt status. That's how I view that. So he says he will play one, and I admire his passion. I think don't play it. If I was his agent, if I was Mike Norvell, if I was anybody that is concerned with the future of Jermaine Johnson, I would make him sit that game out. I would make him sit it out. Keir Thomas might want to play. No offense to Keir, but I think Keir's been a great college defensive end, especially this year. I don't know how he translates to the NFL. I think teams might look at him a little short at 6'4". You say, well, that's not short. Well, when you start talking about guys like 6'6" and 6'5", Keir lacks the wingspan as like a Jermaine Johnson. Don't have the same type of wingspan. Keir Thomas lacks some NFL measurables that he can make up for with more game tape and just showing that his motor is nonstop, right? So he might benefit from playing, but I don't think Jermaine should. I hope at least Jimbo don't get more. I think if he doesn't come to Florida State, I think he's all Alabama. And I don't think it's anywhere else. Promote Shannon. We need to go bowling. No squad still thinks that's quitting. I do not think that's quitting, but that's my opinion. Especially if we're talking about the Gasparilla Bowl. Now, if it was the Orange Bowl, okay. If it was the Orange Bowl, maybe you have a point. If it was a playoff game, you definitely have a point. The Meineke Car Bowl, and we talking about somebody of a caliber of that has a chance to generate a potential generation type wealth for his family, and we're talking about he quitting, it's called a good business in my opinion. But I guess we all have different opinions on it. Is it good he got invited to the Senior Bowl? I think he should decline that. And I know he got invited and said he'd play in that. I think he should decline that. I think at the beginning of the season it made sense for him because he was unknown coming out of Georgia. People knew he had length and measurables and some ability, but they didn't think he was good enough to start on the Georgia defensive line. And who could blame him? Look at that Georgia defensive line. So I understand where the Senior Bowl made sense at that point. At this point, he don't need the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl needs him for ratings. Because who watches the Senior Bowl? Has anybody ever sat down and really watched a Super Senior Bowl? I may have once or twice to watch some Florida State guys. Like I think I watched it, if I'm not mistaken, Christian Ponder performed in the Senior Bowl. I think I watched it then. Like I think I may have watched the Senior Bowl maybe once or twice in my life. If Jermaine plays, I'll watch it. So for ratings, I get why the Senior Bowl want him. Jermaine don't need it. I agree, Ardavius, but he's got his opinion. That no squad has been very consistent with that opinion that guys quit if they don't, that's his opinion. What's up, Kilo? I just think that Jermaine feels like he's invincible. I'm sure he does. I mean, can you blame him? Look at him. And look what he's doing on the field. Yeah, I'm sure he does feel like he's the Hulk or something. But at the same time, we know he's not. We've seen guys of his caliber. Look what happened to the linebacker that Jalen Smith. They were pinging him as the next Ray Lewis. He blew his knee out at Notre Dame and never lived up to that height. Got drafted, but never lived up to that height. What about Daquan Bowers? I don't know if you guys remember Daquan Bowers. Clemson defensive end. He was in the same mold of the Jadeveon Clowneys and guys like that. Injuries derailed him. We've seen guys at his caliber get hurt and never make the money or to have the career they were supposed to have. Davies says, at Noel Squad, if it's not a New Year's Bowl or playoff, why not? Let Pat Payton, George Wilson. I agree with that. I think the Boston College game will be tough. I guess Kilo just came in to show his love. All right, Kilo, I'll holler at you. It takes nuts for a guy to like that to risk millions for his team. It's dumb, in my opinion, and I wouldn't see him as a quitter. I wouldn't see him as a quitter either, at all, especially after all he's done for us. But I'd have even more. Of course, you're going to have, again, I love his passion. You're going to have respect for him. You're going to be like, I mean, Dalvin did it for us in a lot of ways against Michigan. He didn't have to play in that Michigan game. I bet you in hindsight, why did he play in the Michigan game? I mean, he won us the game, but if you look at it in hindsight, it didn't help his draft stock. All those BS rumors about Dalvin off the field destroyed his draft stock. Dalvin Cook was probably, if not the best running back, the second best running back in that class. I'll give you Christian McCaffrey, but look where Christian McCaffrey went compared to Dalvin. Dalvin fell to the second round? Dalvin was every bit worth the first round pick, and playing in that bowl game didn't help him one bit. I think he played maybe thinking it would. And I guess in hindsight, Dalvin might not have even played in that game. Bruh. I was in there just listening. That was some of the funniest. That was pure entertainment last night. But let's get to Jordan Travis, man, because I want to talk about Jordan Travis. I don't even want to think about it. Yeah. Without Jermaine, I don't know. But I want to get to Travis. And hey, me and you on the same dog too. Me and you on the same wave, same page, till dog. But again, people have their opinions. People think that that's quitting. People think it's quitting, and I think it's smart business personally. But again, we all got our opinions. Jordan Travis, man. 4th and 17 himself. 4th and 14, himself. I got to tell you, man. You know how critical I've been of our quarterback, and it's not because I dislike him. As a matter of fact, I always have to remind people, I was the one at the beginning of last year saying Jordan Travis should be your starter, not Blackman. What other option do we have? I think just Blackman, Purdy, Rodemaker, Travis. I was like, Jordan Travis should start the season. He should have started last year from the jump. My thought process was the playbook, even at that time, not knowing exactly the kind of offense Norvell wanted to run other than what you could see at Memphis. My thought process was Purdy was your future. Skill sets are similar enough that you start Travis, ease Purdy along. It's somewhat of a seamless transition. Purdy to Travis. Again, you don't have to change the offense, in my opinion, once you go from one to the other. And if you think Purdy's got the better upside, better tools, there you go. The offense should even go a step further. Obviously, Purdy's not on this team anymore. But at the time, that was my thought process. And then we came into this year, and I will fully admit I was on the Milton bandwagon, the healthy McKenzie Milton bandwagon. I thought if McKenzie Milton was healthy, I thought he was the type of quarterback that Mike Norvell and company wanted. Diagnose, spread the field out, all that stuff. And I've been critical of Travis up until this point. He does great things with his legs. We know that. He makes solid throws every now and then. We know that. But what Jordan Travis did against Miami will always go down. And look, I don't care what the record was. I don't care about the excuses. Oh, y'all beat the worst. First of all, this is not the worst Miami team in history. Y'all have been 6-6 going on for the last 20 years now, so y'all can stop that. Y'all are on par with what you've been for the last 2 decades, if we want to be completely honest. You were just 6-6 2 years ago. You're probably going to end up 6-6 this year. Because luckily you're facing a Virginia Tech team that's dead in the water too, because they just fired their head coach. Neither here nor there. Back to the point. I don't care about the records. I don't care about how good this team was or that team was. That 4th and 14, that 50-yard pass to Douglas, that play's going to live in the annals, in the vault of Florida State history. But it's not just that the plays were made. It's how they were made, I think, was fairly impressive. I've never seen Jordan Travis make that throw like he made on 4th and 14. Now, you can say what you want. And you can talk about the defense. But look, I've seen bad defenses play Jordan Travis before and he not make those throws. To me, what I saw was a guy who pre-snap knew from what he's seen defensively. The decision was quick. It's not like he sat back there and just was doing, no. He knew, he looked to me like a guy who sat back there. It looked to me like a guy who sat back there, pre-snap, diagnosed the defense, said, if this is what I think it is, this is going to be open. Snapped the ball, and sure enough, what he thought, what he processed happened, and he got the ball out there right on the money. Couldn't have asked for a better throw, couldn't have asked for better timing. Not inaccurate, just perfect. That play was, for all intents and purposes, perfect. Not a play I've seen. We've seen him hit the deep ball to Ja'Kai Douglas before. Great play, but we've seen it. And not a lot goes into that. They knew from the jump that they were going to, again, that play call was obviously for Ja'Kai Douglas from the jump. Whether there was a safety over the top or not, they were going to try to give Ja'Kai Douglas that ball over the top. Nothing had to go into that. It's just a snap and throw, and it hit. But that 4th and 14 was a little different. Now, you can credit Miami a little bit because they didn't really disguise anything or give any real look in that play to confuse JT. But I am very intrigued if Jordan Travis, let's face facts. Here are the facts. He's never going to have the cannon. He's never going to be able to put the velocity on some of these throws like a more physically gifted quarterback. But that doesn't mean he can't be a really good college quarterback. And it don't mean he can't next year win us a bunch of football games, especially if the talent around him continues to elevate. If his compute power continues to, if the game is slowing down to a point and the offense and offensive line is allowing him to, I think you might have something. And I think in that Miami game, there's a reason he threw for the most yards he's thrown. I mean, he had a play earlier. We're just talking about 4th and 14. Travis had a play earlier to Pookie Wilson that he threw the ball right on the money. He had to throw to Jordan Wilson up the seam, which is another great throw that you haven't really seen him throw before. I felt like that to me, Travis looked like in that Miami game, a lot of things was just going in slow motion. He looked poised. He looked in control. The moment was never too big. Throws were on point. Now he missed an easy little pitch to Corbin that I think would have went for probably 6. And he missed a fade route to McLean that we could have went up, I think at that point, I think it was 21. We could have went up 21-0. So is he perfect? No. Is any quarterback perfect? No. Quarterbacks are going to miss throws. Even the best of them will miss throws and miss plays. But overall, man, I look at his game, and I don't know. I think I might have gave him a B+ or something at the, when emotions was riding high on my instant reaction. But when I go back and watch him, I think he played actually better than that. I don't think it's a coincidence that his most yards he's thrown, 250 plus, it doesn't have something to do with Miami's defense and them not being good, and they haven't been good, of course, but he didn't do that against other defenses that weren't up to par. He didn't throw for a ton of yards against a North Carolina defense that isn't good. He had a great completion percentage, but he didn't throw for a bunch of yards, mainly because he also ran for like 100 yards in that game. But you get what I'm saying? I think the game might be slowing down for Travis. I think the game might be slowing down for him. Is he the next Heisman winner at Florida State? No, I don't believe so, but I think he might be good enough. He might be good enough going forward, especially if I still think you're talking about a guy who's been in college 3-4 years at this point, that he kind of still is what he is, but that's more physically now. I think physically, I don't think you're ever going to see Jordan Travis throw the ball like Trevor Lawrence, meaning velocity, like the ball just looking like it jumps out of his hands. He's not that. But again, I think his brain and the game slowing down on him is a big deal, and he could be that segue to AJ Duffy that I think is important. And I know a lot of people think we should, and I'm probably in the minority, and I understand. I'm not saying that the opinion of going and get a transfer quarterback is wrong, but I think for a guy who confidence might be at an all-time high, I think if you were to bring a transfer guy in, especially an elder one, like a senior one, I think you're just giving the wrong message. Do I think we might need to, if you tell me you're going to get a transfer guy, but he'll be like a young guy, like maybe a freshman or something, I'd be with that, a guy that compete for that second job. And again, maybe I'm just having the wrong take here, and I'll take that. But I just don't feel like maybe we should go out there and get a portal guy at this point. Try to recruit another high school kid that you can continue to develop. But if you have to go to the portal to get a quarterback, get one with 3-4 years of eligibility. That's just me though. I think at some point, I'm not saying you don't try to improve the room, but I do think at some point you got to believe in Travis. They haven't believed him in 2 years, if we're being honest. They didn't believe. I know he started the year as our quarterback, but we talked about that at length before. They really couldn't wait to put Milton in there. And I get it. Last year, again, they didn't believe in him. They thought Rodemaker was on the depth chart before Travis was. So in 2 years, they really haven't believed in him. Milton don't beat Miami. Rodemaker damn sure don't beat him. At this point, I think you got to start believing in this kid, man. Do you want to bring in a guy for numbers? I'm with it, but keep his confidence level at all-time high, and I think you might have something going forward. Zoe says, I think maybe the coaches are handcuffing Travis a little. I could be wrong. I don't see handcuffing. I still say he go with what he does well. Don't let Saturday fool you. And now we're dropping Jordan Travis back 40 times a game trying to get him to sling the ball around the field. Continue what he does well. I don't know if they're handcuffing him. Hey, I saw JT on the Sports Den with James and Freddie, and he said he had it in his head that he could throw that ball from all the people saying that he couldn't. I'm glad he did it, man. I'm glad he didn't. Travis is definitely growing as a passer. No one can argue. His deep ball is surprisingly his best ball. It's never been his problem. Deep ball's never been his problem. He's actually very well with throwing it out there, the timing up. His problem has been anything that's between the hashes. And as a good quarterback, especially when you're talking about top tier football, it's easy to throw the balls outside. It's tough to throw the ball where everyone is. It's tough to thread the needle, so to speak. It's tough to throw the ball between the hashes over a linebacker while also having the accuracy to put it right where the receiver can get. Those are tough throws. Those are your NFL caliber throws. That's why quarterbacks are that's why those are the quarterbacks that get drafted that can do that. Jalen Hurts could throw the ball deep. So Travis has never had a problem just stepping back and throwing that thing up there. Where we have lacked as an offense is that we can't pick teams up across the middle. When we got to pick up a 3rd and 8, we haven't had a quarterback that can look the linebacker off and then drop it through zone coverage. We haven't had that. If he can do that, kind of upset Purdy leaving us high and dry when he could have used him in the net. Yeah. We need more physical wideouts. Travis has improved as well as the O-line. Jordan Young passed that Young drop and Parchment stop on the route. The Jordan Young, the Young pass would have definitely been a first if nothing else. Yeah, Parchment, he's lucky he got the 4th and 14 catch but again, I talked about Parchment. He's done that before. He's had these lapses in games where you're thinking, what is he thinking? But yeah, that play probably going to whip for 70 as well. I believe JT becomes elite next year with another full off season. I think we got to stop throwing around that elite word. What does the elite mean? Because when you say elite, now you're telling me he's going to be in the Heisman conversation next year. That's a lot of pressure. For a guy, I think for the first time in his career, just threw over 200 yards. Like let's keep it a buck, right? And I don't know if it was his first time throwing over 200, but I damn sure know it's his first time throwing over 250. I think we got to slow down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Jordan Young finally gets a chance and drops it. Yeah. I'll say this. I'm actually surprised Jordan Young's still on the roster. That is one of the guys who, if you told me, if you sat me down and said you got to pick one player that you think would transfer tomorrow, I'd be like, Jordan Young still on the team? I'm surprised he's still on the roster. I don't know how many more opportunities he's gonna get. You gotta catch those balls, man. What's the latest on Hill? I have nothing on Hill. Again, I don't have any. I'm not an insider. I'm just a guy on YouTube. They're saying spring. They're saying January. Spring. He'll be there for spring ball. That's the word. That's the word. If he shows up, he shows up. I agree with that, Chris. I think he's getting better, and I think his confidence is at an all-time high. We'll see how he plays against Boston College, but I expect him to have a good game against Boston College on the ground, and I think he's going to make throws that need to be made. He probably would be more of a type of slot guy in the NFL, Todd. I can see that. In college, you're right. Absolutely. He doesn't have the biggest arm. When you start playing the elite competition, though, Art Davis, here's what I'll counter with. You can have a successful college quarterback. We've seen them. Guys that put up Colt Brennan, if you guys remember that guy. That guy played here in Hawaii. Has threw for 8,000 yards in his college career. I don't know, something stupid. 10,000 yards, something crazy like that. Man couldn't throw the ball 40 yards. Didn't need it. In the system they played in, he was able to dink and dunk and get a bunch of yards and all that. So you're absolutely right. But Hawaii never had to play a team like Florida State. Will have to play your Miamis and your Clemsons. Hell, we play LSU. And that, again, let's just talk about LSU. Jordan Travis probably goes in that game to starter. Jordan Travis, if he can't attack the middle of the field against LSU, I don't think Florida State can win the game. Because LSU's not, you can't just try to take the top or throw everything to the outside. You got to be able to go across the middle of the field and convert third downs and put pressure on those backers to keep them honest, to keep their running lanes up. Like, you know what I mean? Look at the stats when Travis plays versus when he doesn't. He's a de facto starter. I think we should focus on O-line, backers, and the portal. Definitely. Definitely both of those positions. Yeah, I'm with you. Both of those positions. We got to, I would say, add a wide receiver or two. Personally, two. See if we can get two legit wide receivers. What up, Peter? If these coaches believe in him as much as they say, they will roll with him until somebody's better takes his spots and leaves. We need receivers and backers in the portal. Can Taggart coach linebackers? I don't know, can he? I think Taggart's supposed to be an offensive coach, right? We still need a transfer QB because I don't trust Rodemaker as a backup. You have a point, Mayan King. You have a point. You're not wrong. Right? If we think Duffy needs a year or two before he's ready, well, then that means Rodemaker's your guy in case something happens to Travis, which, again, he hasn't really struggled with injuries this year. He missed one game because of injury and then one game because of the flu. So he hasn't really – but he's a guy that been known to be dinged up because of his running style. I will say this, though. Go watch him. Recent weeks, he's running a lot smarter. He knows when to get down and stuff. But I don't disagree. It definitely couldn't hurt just have a solid backup plan. But again, Travis seems to be a guy who a lot of it is here. He's admitted himself, and you listen to him talk in interviews, that he didn't have confidence in himself. And I feel like he's finally getting it. And I think his play is elevated. You'll be surprised what you can do if you have confidence you can do it, even if you're not even good at doing it. I think we've all kind of been there. I don't want to bring a guy in. And I understand it. It's a double-edged sword or a catch-22, whatever you want to call it. You always want to improve the talent. You always want to bring in the best you can. I don't know if I want to bring in a guy that's going to destroy or make him look over his shoulder. I definitely think McKenzie did that, but I also think I was going into this year thinking McKenzie was the starter anyway. But after 2 years of really treating Travis like a backup, I would dare argue, put all your love, attention, effort into making this guy your quarterback. And I could be wrong there. I could be dead wrong there. So that's just, my thoughts. If we go out and throw the ball 4 times and lose because everyone will lose, and rightfully so, let that 3-headed monster. Absolutely. I agree. 20 to 25 max. I would even go 15 to 20 max, Tyler. I would even take 5 off of that. Make him he's his most efficient when he's throwing 15 to 20 passes and running for another 60 plus yards. Stick to the formula. If anything, we need to add 10 to 15 pounds of muscle to him so he can stay healthy. That's a good point too. This offseason, film room and weight room. That's all he needs to do. Film room and weight room. We have Travis for like 2 more years, Jen. He's a sophomore. Because last year didn't count. He's a redshirt sophomore. We have him for like 2 more years. I think Travis next season wins against most of our ACC opponents. I can see that. Especially the ACC is losing some quarterbacks. That North Carolina guy's probably going to the league. This Boston College quarterback we got coming up was a former 5-star Notre Dame commit, actually. He's probably going to the NFL. We know Howell's going to the NFL. The only guy coming back that, Van Dyke, I think that Wake Forest kid is a senior. I'm trying to think of some other quarterbacks. I think we might come into the season next year with one of the best quarterback situations, honestly, because a lot of the top ACC schools this year is losing their guy. Like, I don't know who's going to take over for Howell once he leaves. I'm pretty sure they've recruited somebody. Pretty sure Pitts. I forgot all about Pickett. ACC's got some quarterbacks, man. And Pickett, all those guys I'm talking about, they're going to go to the NFL. Throw to Jordan Young. Does Duke start the game? Was in Duke. So does Duke start if the game was in? Oh, I don't know if that matters. I don't think his play would have changed. I'm glad they made the move, and they should never go back. when I speak about these young men, it's nothing personal. I don't know any of them personally. Pretty sure they're all great young men with promising futures. At the end of the day, guess what? You're going to get a degree from a top flight university regardless. But Jerry Jones should never play DB again at Florida State. Maybe try moving. There was talk in the offseason of moving him to receiver because apparently Jerry Jones is very fast. He don't look fast on the football field when I watch him on Saturdays. Can't be fast when you're constantly getting burnt. But apparently he's got very good straight line speed. Maybe try him at receiver. He should not start a game over Omarion Cooper ever again because it's obvious that Omarion Cooper has it. That was not any wide receiver he was covering Saturday. That was Rambo. That was a guy that was killing it. Once Miami found a quarterback, no team could guard this guy. And for a whole half, we locked him. And in the clutch situations down the stretch of the game, who did they put on Rambo? Omarion Cooper. That says something, in my opinion. What up, Brandy Franklin? What's going on? I haven't talked to you in a while, but I've been checking the chats out. But quick question. Great question. We kind of forgot about Burrell. And the few pictures I've seen of Joshua Burrell, I've seen a couple pictures of him with a boot on his leg. So on one picture with them, he had the boot on his leg and had his leg elevated on one of them scooter things. So I don't know what the injury is there. I think he'll be a great addition next year because he's a big body. Somebody said earlier, I don't know if it was Todd, they said we need more physical receivers. There's your physical receiver right there in Burrell. He can body some guys. He's built like a linebacker but plays receiver, and I think it'd be a great addition next year as a redshirt freshman. I think Lars Woodbay is I think he's on the injury report as out Saturday. We just got to run the ball. BC gives up yards on the ground. I would just run the ball against them boys. Excuse me. I think he can be good, maybe even great college quarterback. Epic. He's improving on his passing game. You look at Oregon, Mariota. What else had to do with the system that they ran down or Oregon? I agree. Mariota didn't have all those as you see, when Mariota went to the NFL, he just flamed out because he didn't have the physical throwing ability. That has a lot to do with Oregon's system. I don't know. I don't know if we run a system conducive to that. I with all due respect, Todd, Edelman ain't no future Hall of Famer. The only way Jordan Travis develops elite status is, man, I'm done with that comment. Not even going to finish that. Let me scroll up a little bit. Briley says, I was massively impressed by how quiet his feet were against Miami. The game is slowing down for him and he's still progressing. Don't think we've seen Trav's ceiling. Keonta says FSU should go after. A lot of people like that. And look, I get it. I'm not saying that they this is just my perspective. If they go and add a guy in the portal, I'm all for it. I just think, do you sit back and you think as yourself as a staff, maybe we should put all our eggs into this basket? Maybe it's never a good idea to do that. I just worry that you lose them again. If you go into next year and we're doing the same thing, I mean, at what point does Jordan Travis be like, damn, what do I got to do to get the support of this coaching staff? That's kind of where I'm coming at it from, I guess, his standpoint. But I completely understand everybody that's like, nope, go out, get a quarterback and get one that might even be legit start. I'm with you. I'm with you. They do have a bad run defense. Travis J gonna have to play offense again. I think so too, Dupree. But apparently, he can't play offense because he's not good on defense or something like that. Drake May will be the QB for North Carolina next year. Okay. Island Boy agrees. Cooper and Knowles plus Hunter McCall and maybe Earl Spence or Earl? I don't think Earl's coming here. I think Earl's just playing games. I think he's all Bama. If you're not tracking the number 2 corner in the nation, young man out of California, decommitted from USC, and now everybody's saying he's Bama bound. Does that interfere with Earl Little going to Alabama? Or, interesting. I think it's interesting. Philly says was looking at BC stats against Tech, over 200 yards on the ground, about 6 passes. The current BC QB also hasn't been sacked all year. Well, the current Boston College quarterback has only played in like 4 games because at one point they thought he was done for the year. I think one of the positive things going into this game is that the Boston College quarterback this is the quarterback, right? This is the NFL prospect I'm talking about. But he's played against Georgia Tech. I was looking at it earlier. I don't remember the teams, but the guy hasn't exactly faced big time competition because he's been injured. To his credit, he might be facing the best defense. Because I don't think I'm almost positive he didn't play against Clemson. He's probably going to see the best defense he's seen all year. It'll be very interesting to see how he reacts. He's a good player, though. Would you still take Willis? I would. Willis, the linebacker from Georgia Tech. Is that who we're talking about? If that's who we're talking about, Jerron Willis or whatever. It's hard to say you won't take him because we need linebackers. I just don't like the way he's moved. You know how I am with kids and how they move. I think I get it. The recruiting process is yours, and you have all the right to do what you want. But obviously, being a Florida State fan, when I feel like you're playing games, will we ever see Tate? I don't know. We've seen Demore Tate? Are we talking Demore Tate or Tate Rodemaker? Which Tate we talking about? I'm assuming you're talking about Demore Tate because somebody was talking about Sam McCall and these other guys. Look, Demore Tate's got all the physicals of any corner, including the guys we're bringing in. When I say physicals, Demore Tate is 6'2", probably at this point, probably about 200 himself. Long corners, got length. But at some point, he's got to put it together, too. I do think it's a bit concerning that we haven't seen Demore Tate this year. But he's going to have another offseason. We'll see what he's made of come next year because he's going to have legit competition. He might be a guy that end up getting lost in that shuffle. Maybe you can move him to a safety. I'm not sure. Haven't seen enough of Demore Tate to figure out what his strengths and weaknesses are at this point. Polk, where the damn shirt at? Don't worry, man. We going to get there. Careful with what you do in the portal in that QB room. You saw how it put us back early in the season. If you don't start the right guy, you're right, Lorenzo. Demore Tate gonna be lost in the shuffle. We got guys who show to be better. Briley says, I'm worried that Little Jr. and Jones Jr. are packaged. I don't think they're packaged, but I do know they're close. And I do know they're close. But I don't know if they're a package. But I think Bama's number one competition for Jones. Look, I would love to have Earl Little, but I got Travis Hunter and Sam McCall already. Earl Little would just be icing on the cake, but I got my cake already. I want Marvin Jones is who I need. He's the main course meal. He's my number one prospect. I know Tyree West, and shout out to Tyree West because I love the mentality. Tyree West was quoted earlier as saying that he believes he's the number one guy left on Florida State. He's the number one guy left. Tyree West said he's the number one guy left on Florida State board. That Florida State's going after some good players, but he's the big dog left in the class. That's what he said. And I love his credit. I mean, I love his confidence. But no. That guy at the plantation heritage, the guy at the heritage is the number one guy left on Florida State's board, and he's the big dog. He's the big dog. In my eyes. No disrespect, but in my eyes. Y'all already know how I feel there. DB room is loaded. Still haven't seen Hunter Washington. Good point, Ardavius. We already know what we got in Coop. Knowles, we know what we got. McCall, Brownlee. For a lot of people, give Brownlee a lot of slack. But this ain't coming here. I see what you did there, DF. I see what you did there. I think Brownlee's been playing very good football. We ain't seen Sidney Williams since for a few weeks because Akeem Dent is in that position. So on paper, that DB room is loaded, but it's always loaded at Florida State. We might get Basaint. Basaint ain't coming here. I remember guys saying DeMaury Tate was the most talented guy on the roster. Well, we haven't seen it yet. Boxing Monster, I think Basaint is looking for a reason to come. UF game would be. I think UF game would be a big opportunity for Florida State. If Duke and Xavier Rhodes Island type, I think Duke is when he came out, I compared him to Brian McFadden. I don't think he's quite Xavier Rhodes, but it is Duke Xavier Rhodes type. I'm not saying he's a first round pick, but I love his mentality, even in interviews. Just answer the questions and then it's on to the next. So to answer your question more directly, I think it's more of a Brian McFadden type. His body style, his body type reminds me of McFadden. I don't. I'll be honest with you, I don't. I know his dad can say whatever he wants. I don't think Earl Little is letting his son play at Florida State. Could be wrong. He might let his son pick where he wants to go. I think he's just stringing Florida State along, putting us in the top 3. I think everybody knows he's Bama bound, unless that corner out of California has something to say about that. And you know, scholarships become a little scarce. A lot of them dudes go into Bama and get lost in the shuffle. And Shaheem Brown, we didn't mention Shaheem Brown. You're absolutely right. The crazy thing is, Brandon Gant is still on this roster, guys. We ain't even mentioned Gant. I think, I can't confirm this, but I have a theory on Brandon Gant since we were talking about DBs. He's been listed on the depth chart, but we haven't seen him. I don't even think I've seen Brandon Gant play special teams. This is my conspiracy theory of the week. Because Gant still is going to have eligibility. And for a guy who hasn't been playing, you would think his name would enter the transfer portal by now, or you would think something of that nature. But he's very active on social media, always pro Florida State. Maybe they are finally doing what I've said do. They're trying to put about 10, 15 pounds on Gant and move him down to linebacker. That's my conspiracy theory. Next year, we see Brandon Gant play linebacker. Next year, we see Brandon Gant move down, where I think he'd be a lot more effective than that safety. Question, the way the defense has been playing lately, they keep playing that way. Do you think Fuller has saved it? I don't think Fuller was ever getting fired, even though I was calling for it. To Fuller's credit, though, defense has been great. I think what you've seen is when kids are bought in, defense. Now, you know, defense hasn't been perfect, but there's some lack of talent in certain key positions. I think Fuller has quieted all of the criticism. I'm not going to lie or cap. Fuller's quieted everything. I don't even hear people even asking for it. The defense has been better than the offense for the most part this year, if we're being honest. Fuller was never in question. Fuller is a defensive genius, man. DF, you are crazy. Do you think Dustin Hill will suffer a lot from a year away? I don't think. Look, what is he? 19 probably now. 18, 19. He's definitely going to have to get back in the swing of things. But I don't think an 18, 19-year-old body is going to have any problem getting back. Like they said Dustin Hill's clocked at a 4.3. He's not all of a sudden going to start running a 4.7 or something. If he was 4.3 before, even with a year away, assuming hasn't been just sitting on the couch eating donuts, I'm pretty sure that's not the case. Pretty sure he was still working out, still training. He's going to still be able to run a 4.3. He might need to catch up with the speed of the game, obviously, after sitting out a year. You might just use him more situationally, but he'll still be 4-star caliber. You think Sidney should be a linebacker? Gant for sure. I don't know about Sidney. I think Sidney moves better. I like what I've seen from Sydney personally. I don't like Sydney's not as physical as Gant. I don't think Sydney would excel at that. Just my opinion, though. At what point can we say we've seen the light at the end of the tunnel and be confident our team will show up and play well? Well, I'll tell you what, Boston College will tell us that, Tyler. Because do you let this past Saturday pump your head up and think that, because you beat a mediocre Miami team, and mediocre is being kind, because you beat a mediocre Miami team, you can just now show up and beat Boston College? Are you over? Remember last year? And I'm so glad we didn't see that this year. But again, I think that goes to the leadership that I continue to talk about. Remember last year after North Carolina? Do you remember guys smoking cigars in the locker room? They celebrated that North Carolina win, man, like they had just won a natty. And I remember talking about that last year. Like, why are we smoking cigars? I'm not the only one that remembers that. Crazy thing about that North Carolina win, a lot of us thought, that was the win, and they're going to turn the page. And no, that's not what happened. They came out the next week as if they was big stuff. It wasn't the case, was it? I didn't see any. They celebrated, and every team's going to celebrate, especially after beating your rival. But I didn't see no cigar popping. I didn't see no confetti. I didn't see anything crazy. I know Brandon made a point earlier about the video feeling like 2013 all over again, and I get it. But the truth is, it's a rivalry game. You're gonna celebrate like that. But that was North Carolina last year, man. And I get it. North Carolina was number 5 in the country, but come on. No, that game shouldn't have been popping champagne bottles and smoking cigars after that game. But that's what they did. And again, didn't see that this game. I'd be very interested to see how they show up against Boston College. Business, ready to get, don't come in there thinking. That goes to the coaching staff too. One of the things that we haven't really discussed is this coaching staff has been growing as well. Our coaches, I think the fact of the matter is our staff wasn't ready for this job. Some of them obviously have coached at big-time football. Your Marcus Woodson's. He was at Auburn. I think Kenny did a year at Auburn, but I don't think Kenny was quite ready for this type of job. Mike wasn't ready for this type of job. Fuller wasn't ready for this type of job. Atkins had never had this type of job. I don't think this staff was ready. But I will say this staff has grown as these players have grown. They have grown together. Situationally, Mike has gotten better. I think Kenny's play calling has gotten better throughout the year. And I think one of the beautiful things about Florida State right now, or what's going on in the state of Florida, is Miami and Florida just gave Mike that much more time to grow. Because I stand firm on this. I don't care if Miami can go out and get Bear Bryant. Great hire. He'll turn it around. It's still going to take time. And that's the thing, in my opinion, that people just are glossing over, as if they get Cristobal. If it happens, they're going to win tomorrow. It's still going to take time. Saban only won 7 games his first year, I believe, at Alabama, with a loss to Louisiana Monroe. It's going to take time. There's going to be guys in that program that Cristobal is going to have to weed out. It happens with every coaching change. It's going to happen. That's beautiful for us, because in that same time span, while Cristobal's getting his stuff together to potentially make that run, Mike's growing and learning himself. And same thing with whoever Florida brings in. It's going to take time. It's just how it goes. So I know I went very long on that question, but there's my answer. Y'all know how I get. I can go. Can Tate punt or kick? Demore Tate or Tate Rodemaker? Over or under for J Trav, 1.5 TD passes this Saturday. Great question. Can I push? Well, obviously, you can't push. I'm going to say under. Dupree says over. What's the latest on Hill? There's no latest. He's still planning to show up in January and be ready for spring ball. That's what they are saying. Brandon, I ain't got no inside sources. Over. He's throwing 4. I'm sick of DF. No, they'd be ready to play these jokers. Lost Jackson State and start on 4. They're not great, but they're playing hard. I do remember that. I thought it was a little much because I remember back in the day we have a game like that. We go used to winning back then. It's just another game. Hit that like button. Tell them, Dupree. Hit that like button. I got 60 people in the chat. Man, let me check my likes, man, because I know how y'all do. Some of y'all. Most of y'all, we good. But some of y'all like to show up in my house, listen to me talk, but not introduce yourself, not ring my doorbell, and not wipe your feet. I got 60 people in here and 38 likes. Yeah, half of y'all sitting in here freeloading right now. Hit my like button, man. Hit my like button. I don't doubt they'll play hard. We've just been burned so many times. I need more than 4 and 8 to be comfortable. I agree. Again, I remember I'm sick of the whole play hard narrative. We've game 1, we knew this team played hard. Notre Dame proved that this team was going to play hard. And quite frankly, they didn't quit after 0-4. We know they play hard. We know they don't quit. They're not going to lay down. So I'm tired of talking about it. Now it's time to start turning the corner. Let's get some W's. Let's get some wins. That's why I don't commend them for playing hard anymore. Because as far as I'm concerned, as a head coach, that's the damn bare minimum. If you can't get your team to play hard, then you deserve to be fired now. If I can't get a team to get on the field and give me effort for 60 minutes, I deserve to be fired. Period. So I don't care about the playing hard thing anymore. I'm tired of using that as a positive. That's the bare minimum. I agree. I believe Johnson and Kerr was telling the team to shut up and win. Florida State is trying to put Travis J on the field, but he won't be on the field. Well, I messed that up, Montre. Give me a minute. Florida State trying to put Travis J on the field, but he have to want to be on the field. Okay, got you. I don't know what I was reading there. I was talking to the Gator fan. He said they're going to beat us by like 21. Okay. FSU has the most, I agree, Dupree, most stability. And that's the beautiful thing. While all these other teams are going through some real turbulent weather right now, it's not great. We're not going to sit here and pretend like Florida State's we're not going to sit here and pretend like Florida State right now is great, but they're in a great spot to take advantage. Something Florida couldn't do with Dan Mullen winning 10 games, and they had to Kyle Trask, the best thing since Tebow, and Pitts, the best thing since Percy Harvin, and they couldn't take advantage of that. They should have locked the state of Florida down, especially within the Big Three, and they couldn't do it. Florida State's in a prime position. Prime position, Mike. Let's take advantage of it and go into next year with all. If you win 3 straight, hell, just get me to a bowl, and then once we get to the bowl, we can talk about winning that. But if you go 7 after starting 0-4 to finish 7-6, you go into next year with a ton of momentum. And that 2023 class, as good as this 2022 class has a chance to be, 2023 class could be better. Because even if we miss on Marvin Jones Jr., which I even hate to bring it up, I don't even want to speak it into existence. But we got a Marvin Jones Jr. clone next year. Another legacy. His name's Lamont Green Jr. Hey, go check him out. Might be all as good as Shade Tree's young son. Go check him out. Got another clone coming out. Another legacy. And he's already committed. Lamont Green Jr. already committed. So that 2023 class has a chance to be even better. Thank God it's a day game in the swamp. Both of the next 2 games are noon games, which is a good thing for me. I get to wake up earlier than usual, but I usually wake up early anyway, watch the game, come on here, tell y'all what happened, and go on about my day. Travis J lost his confidence ever since that Notre Dame game. He was burnt. Listen, And Bobby Bounds early in his career, if social media was around back then, he would have got ripped early in his career. Look what happened after 86. It took off. Kicking that field goal, make it a 5-point game, shows me he's learned. Better late than never. I agree, Tyler. I agree. Mike is peaking in the state while the Canes and Gators are having growing pains. Tell him, Noel Squad, hit the like. Where are we at right now on likes? 63 people in here. And I got, come on, refresh on me. Y'all still freeloading. It's all right. I know y'all might just like to look at my face. I got 63 people in here. I should have at least 50 likes. I'll take 50. Okay, I'm at 49. No, you know what? I want 60 likes then. I didn't realize I was at 49. I thought I was at 39. Sometimes you got to score. Sometimes you scare me with your serious Army man face. I'm sorry. Did you think? I do think we'll beat BC. I'm feeling pretty confident. I don't think BC is I think BC is a solid ACC team. I don't think they're a great overall team. I don't think they're any tougher than a Syracuse. I don't think they're any tougher than an NC State, who I thought if Travis played, we probably would have been even more so in that game. And we were still in that game to the end. I think none of BC's athletes scare me. I think we'll be fine. But having kids playing hard ain't easy too, but ain't easy to do. That's the sign of good coaching. Look, again, say what you want, Dupree. If you're a head coach on every level, a head coach worth his weight at any level, the minimum is to play hard. If you can't get a team to play hard, you shouldn't be a head coach. We couldn't have picked a better time to blow at. I agree. I don't know if I'd word it that way, blow ass, but I agree. I think we probably, who would have thought a year, seriously, think about this. Miami won 8 games last year. Had a Heisman hopeful, who I never thought was a Heisman hopeful, but had a Heisman hopeful in De'Aaron King. They had 19 returning starters. Starting the season off about Alabama, they were a top 15 ranked team. Florida, Kyle Trask, I just talked to, Trask and Pitts and Tony and all those guys, and they were coming into this year thinking Ermon Lane and those two teams were supposed to do something, as the great Willie Taggart would say. They were supposed to do something. And here they are in the same boat as Florida State. Quite frankly, I would say Florida State has weathered the storm. As long as Mike doesn't revert back to the foolishness, I like where we stand compared to the rest of the state of Florida. We're right on par with everybody else, which is a compliment more so than I think people think. Because everybody knew Florida State would struggle this year. We're the only team that has kind of lived up to expectations, if you want to be honest. Because no one really thought we were going to be good. I think most people thought this was a 5-win team. And they're kind of on pace to be that. Everybody else has completely not lived up to their so-called preseason expectations in the state of Florida. Well, Florida State's on pace to be that and maybe exceed that. I agree, Priscilla. Brandon says, what's up with the wide receiving recruitment? Coleman, I think, is the big guy left out there, man. You can run on Boston College. Not a great defense. Sandals for Florida. Everybody runs on them. Same as for Florida, I think is what Jeff meant. Chad, yo. Miami only has 8 recruits. Yeah, I know. Man, I'm scared of BC, but I think we beat Florida. I'm not really scared of BC. I think it's going to be a tough game. BC usually plays tough, but remember, this BC is where it started for Travis. Maybe Travis has some BC mojo. I'm not too worried about Boston College, man. I'm not saying that they're going to go in and just walk. I'm not saying none of that. I'm not saying none of that, but I feel pretty confident in this Boston College game. I probably will be disappointed if they lose it, especially depending on how they lose it. But if we go 1-1, 5-7, and beat only UF, I still think we get a tie. I think beating UF is still big. I agree with that, Robert. I wouldn't necessarily disagree with you. I think the bowl game should be the goal, but if a 5-7 Florida State team can also say that they beat UF and Miami in the same year. What about him? He's committed. But he's this year. But Aaron Hester, yeah, he's committed. This 2022 class is gonna up the intensity and competition and practice. I love Lamont Green, but he got fast twitch that I don't think Lamont Green has really grown into his body as much, obviously, at being younger. But I like Lamont Green too. Honestly, firing Manny and Blake will put Miami in a horrible place. No recruiting class in place, and some kids are about to train. I agree, Brandon. I agree. I think, and this will be the last thing we say on Miami, and then we'll go forward. We're about to do this. We're about to do the free shirt giveaway here in a minute. But I do want to say that I think Miami fans are completely overlooking the fact that they only have 8 commits. And when I hear some of them talk, well, we recruited well last year, so we good. We don't really need a good class this year. I think you don't understand how a bad class. Look, you become successful not by one recruiting class. You build depth upon depth on recruiting classes. So last year they signed the top 15 class. You would have liked to follow this year up with at least another top 15 class. But to follow 15, that makes that last year's class all but irrelevant because you have nothing behind it. There's no depth behind it. And you've already had guys transfer out. And you're going to have guys probably transferring out in the future. So you make a great point. And I don't, I know they're all in the Mario crystal ball thing, and I get it. I understand it. I'm not mad at them. But to think that it's just going to flip a switch, even if you hire them, it's gonna be a process down there in Miami. It's gonna be a process in UF. I know, UF's definitely not gonna lay down. As good as Travis is getting, we must have a good QB coach. Even if we lose to BC, we beat UF. I view the season as success. A win over UF is way more important than a bowl. Beating UF and UM is the most important thing. Rooster might hit the portal. They getting on Miami now. It's funny how, I saw Kilo. Shout out to Kilo. He came through, showed love, and left. Have y'all seen a Miami fan in here today? They usually trickling in here, lingering around. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I just ain't seen them. I don't know. It depends on who Miami hires, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see some players transfer. I don't think Van Dyke's gonna go. His job's all but locked up. Florida's like crypto. You buy more when the market's down. UF and UM are down. It's time to buy at a discount. You think they keep Jake? I think a lot of that takes with the next coach. Especially, do they go an offensive guy? Do they go a defensive guy? I think if they go off, let's say I'll give them a base case, one of the best case scenarios for him. Personally, I think they should be more in on Lane Kiffin than Mario, but that's my own honest opinion. Let's say they get Lane Kiffin. I don't think Jake Garcia goes anywhere. Why would you? Lane Kiffin has shown what he can do at quarterbacks. I don't know if Lane Kiffin's good for in the long haul, but immediately, Lane Kiffin might make a little bit of noise immediately. Not one, Zoe. Not even a slither of one, bro. They usually ain't here. I'll tell you right now, no squad, you're not going to see New King for the rest of the year. I promise you that. You won't see that guy for the rest of the year. Guys like that are jokes. I don't know where Seminole T2Y. I don't know. I haven't heard that, but I know look, no disrespect to the basketball team. I'm not talking college basketball until football season's over. No disrespect to them, but I'll be honest with you. I don't care about college football in November. Hell, they just lost to Florida. So that's not good. That was the first time losing to Florida in some years. I definitely will talk basketball once the season's over and once we start getting closer to that March Madness, that ACC tournament and all that stuff. As of right now, Florida State's up 42-37. I'll be honest with you. I don't care about Florida State basketball right now. My opinion. You think Prime interested in man? Stop. If we lose out and make the bowl, you might hear. Yeah, I agree with that. If we lose the next 2 games, then you might hear from a guy like that. I think I did the same thing last year. Last year was a little bit different as well with the pandemic. There were games getting canceled, so sometimes I would put on a basketball game here or there. But I got you, a Sports Center. Don't worry. We gonna get basketball in here. Don't worry. Don't worry. What does have to offer Kiffin or Mario? Okay, we're not gonna get into all that conversation. But here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end on this note. We are about to hit this free prize giveaway. Wait a minute. There we go. And as you see, that is the name. That is the Wheel of Destiny. Those are all the 863 Tribe members. I actually didn't realize I had that many of y'all. So shout out to you guys. So that little, what is it? $2-3 that y'all give every month. Hey, this is what it's going to. Free shirts. And what better than to be able to walk around with the 4th and 14 shirt. If you didn't see the 4th and 14 shirt, let me show it to you before we do before we spin the Wheel of Destiny. Again, the only person not on there that's a part of the 863 Tribe is Rose, because he won the last one. So I want to keep it fair. I want to give everybody a legit chance. And since Rose already got one, he ain't going to get another one, at least not yet. Beginning of next year, guess what? He'll be back on the wheel. Which means I need to start doing more of these giveaways, right? Especially if I got all these members. Which I didn't realize I had all you guys on here. This way people get more opportunities to win something. But this is the shirt from Jordan Travis's own line. 4th and 14. As you can see, you see how much it costs, right? You see the different colors. You got gray. You got black. Personally, I don't think any color but garnet looks good to me. Gray looks black. I'm always down for a black shirt, but then it doesn't look Florida State related, right? But that garnet to me just pops. And you see down here, he's got other designs. But we're just simply going with the 4th and 14 because I want one of these 4th and 14 shirts myself. That's why I say I'm buying one for myself, but I'm also going to get one of you guys one. So without any further ado, and again, like Dupree says, even if you don't win, man, go support and get you a shirt. Go support, get you a shirt. Let these recruits know, man, the NIL is real down here in Tallahassee. We invest in our players. I don't think some of y'all realize how big a deal this could become. Randy says, how do I get my name on the wheel? You have to become a member of the 863 Tribe. And it's cheap. The 863 Tribe is cheap. What are my tiers? My tiers are really cheap, like $199, $299, and $399 or something like that. They're cheap, man. But let's do it. Again, man, let's not waste any time. Drum roll, please. Do you guys want to practice spin or just a spin? Okay, I want to keep it. Let me know. Do you guys want to practice spin? Like a warm-up? Or do you just want me to hit the button and whoever it lands on gets it? So answer me in the comment section before I click it. Tyler says just spin it. That might be something to talk about in the future. being able to put their own logos on the like that might just be something that I think teams might want. That's a good idea. Okay, Peter says just spin it. Tyler says just spin. All right, we're just about to spin it then. Just spin it. No Squad says just spin it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Terrence. I don't know if Terrence is watching, but I can message him and let Terrence know. It was almost on Tyler. Tyler almost got it. Look, man, it was inches away from hitting on Tyler, man. And DF was right under Terrence. So I'm going to hit up Terrence and let him know he just won. Terrence, are you watching? I know you was in here earlier. I'm going to message him right now, let him know. Rose with the $5 donations. No comment, but I appreciate that, man. And don't worry, Jeff. Did I say Rose? I meant Jeff. I thought I was reading Rose and said, thank you, Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
Second time. Go watch that Rose one. I was right. Really? I don't remember that, but man, you're getting I rigged it. Y'all saw me. Oh, you already bought the 4th and 14? Dope. I'm about to buy mine right now, right when I buy this. So, hey guys, great episode tonight. Thanks everybody that came through. Again, if you want chances at these prizes, by all means, go become a member of the 863 tribe. Hold on, let me take this down so y'all can see my beautiful face. But look, Florida State, man, we got 2 big games left on the schedule. Potential bowl game. I want the bowl, but I understand people that's like, forget the bowl, just beat Florida. I completely understand it. I just think that momentum going into the offseason with the potential bowl victory, like I think that's how you sell these recruits that Florida State's turning that curve. We covered Tyree West and his potential flip. He's being crystal ball to Florida State. Big things coming from Odell. Big things coming on the trail. I think Florida State has a chance to close real strong here on the recruiting trail. And, of course, I had to go over Jordan Travis and the fact that I just might have been wrong on that young man. He may be turning the corner as a quarterback. I will see you guys Saturday at halftime and after the game. Y'all already know win, lose, or draw. We live. We ain't like these Miami guys. We don't disappear when we take L's. So I'm in here win, lose, or draw. Thanks, everybody who showed up tonight. It's your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, Seminoles. And I think we've kept our head up through the storm. So I don't think I need to say that one no more. But go Noles. You guys have a great rest of your night. And I will see you guys Saturday, man. Go Noles.